Guys, welcome to tonight's Truth Shocker with our host, Rocco Fowler, and our very special guest, Gabriel.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Gabriel. How are you?
So, update, Rocco. How have you been?
Oh, man. Yeah, well, this is the beauty of having your own show. By the way, I'm Rocco, the host of Truth Shocker. You can find me on Instagram at, I believe it's Fowler Rocco or Rocco Fowler. I'm not sure exactly which one. Or you can reach me on Facebook. I do DNA activations in certain areas um, and with people that have been through abduction, along with myself and the abduction that I previously had. I want to say it was about 2 days ago. I was out and about around, I'd say, 2:30ish. We're getting close to witching hour. And I somehow decided, okay, I'm going to telepathically communicate with the universe and send out a signal to bring a craft. And when I put the camera up towards the actual craft, it wasn't being shown. But I look down, I look up, and above me, it is literally, now that I think of it, it looks like a triangular shaped object. And off in the distance, I had heard uh, a bird, which is considered a chopper. And I said, here we go. So I followed the light, and I ended up getting some really good photos, or actually video. I think it got taken down. Um, but this just goes to show also that since I was 3 years old, I've been having alien contact, uh, abductions, military abductions, and they've all been horrifying, horrible experiences. However, when I came back in the house, I literally fell on my bed, lights out. I was gone. The next day, I wake up, I feel like I'm whole. I feel like parts of me have been returned, parts of me have been healed, parts of me has shown me that no matter what, they were telling me, shoot for the stars. And I was like, shoot for the stars because,
What did
supposedly in
you
the
just
past,
say?
shoot for the stars,
I don't know if you
meaning,
can see this, Rocco.
yeah, what about
It's
it?
a freaking bookmark that says shoot for the stars.
Oh, don't you love synchronicities? But anyways,
Even if
however,
you miss,
don't let my gifts get, I don't want my gifts to get away too
you'll
fast
land
because,
among the stars.
yeah. Well, Sean Bond has actually said when he was doing my reading that I was a planet in my past life. I want to say it was Jupiter because he told me that Jupiter loves me. He came out of the blue and just said that. Sean is not the typical person to just get up on an internet show or get up and talk with just anybody. There's got to be a reason behind it. And it has to do with soul connection. and how we're all, basically we're all one. So it's like, anyways, back to the experience. When I found and I went through and I retraced my memories and I figured out that this abduction was it wasn't horrible, it wasn't horrendous, it wasn't, I woke up, I didn't wake up with any marks on me. I was perfectly fine. I got up. I didn't have a sore throat anymore. I had a sore throat for weeks. I think I pretty much cleansed. But they laid me in some type of bed. And I want to say that I was telepathically communicating with these individuals as far as on a level of, they were telling me that my journey of truth is to place the frauds where the frauds belong and bring, if I have to, no disrespect, but take my respect, because it seems that people are not giving me my respect, and I've well done more than enough to be continuously slandered and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'll just let my lawyers handle that. And by the way,
I had to take some time away from social media due to some unforeseen issues that popped up. And then Monday, my apartment got, my dumbass fault for leaving the door unlocked. Somebody walked into my apartment, didn't take anything but my animal, my service animal. Well, of course, I went spastic. Got the cat back later that evening, but, was still not in a great mood either.
I just want to let Gabriel know real quick. On this show, buddy, there's no holding back. You understand?
Nope.
This show, I'm going to tell it how it is. And what I said, I meant. And what these beings told me, and they look to be scientific type beings with long heads, but it was like you could see part of their brain though. It was weird. But they were putting me in a bed, and as they were laying me in this bed, I swear I heard med set. Now, funny enough, a guest that I was supposed to have come on, Gina B, put me in a med tent, and I started to feel the results. I did get a little sick. Also, I've noticed that my healing has picked up. I have a puppy who, when I first got her, she was throwing up and on antibiotics and all kinds of things. She's eating out of my hand now. After I rubbed her stomach for about a good 20 minutes using chi energy, I literally sucked in some of that sickness that she had, and I literally went to the bathroom and projectile vomited because I had gotten a drift of what, she was feeling. But then I was woken up at 5:30 in the morning. And she's been doing really good, drinking water. She's not shaking anymore. She's very playful. So I'm blessed there. But that's gifts that are given. And one thing I try to do is I try to give away gifts for free. I try. But when it comes to a point where your body is weakening so much because you're trying to help so many people at one time, and you have alters talking to you, voice to skull, you're dealing with all this negative energy. It's like you have to build that fortress, those firewalls, put them up, and you know, like the yin and the yang, you know, and don't give up. That's one thing I can tell you, because giving up is not the answer. It's
No, it's not.
not worth a penny. It's not worth anything. Another thing I want to bring up real quick on this show is I've noticed that the truth has been stretched. I've noticed that every other week someone new comes out and they get misled to the wrong people. And I'm going to say this right now. About 3 years ago, when I first met Gabriel, I was drinking. I was out of it. Just put it that way. I was completely in a really bad disarray of a bunch of, like my memories being split and not knowing if the memory is real. And Gabriel had actually done a little bit of healing work on me a few times. And it was very beneficial because at those times I was ready to give up certain things myself.
You still have food over here.
That is major. That is major. And if you want to talk a little bit about that, buddy, and what you do as far as healing, definitely the floor is yours, and I'm going to smoke my lovely earth element. You know, hey, that's just how I roll, buddy.
Okay, so for those who might be interested in what I do, I'm a Reiki practitioner, and I'm not only a Reiki practitioner, I actually talk a lot about ancient cultures, societies, the formations of religion, and how those things came to be through major earthworks of the continents and the gods of the lands and seas for how people describe navigation. So anyway, to the point of Rocco Fowler, when it comes to helping people heal, I don't claim to be a doctor. I'm just a Reiki practitioner, and when I go to help people, I call upon the energy of the great spirit, of the divine, of the infinite, is what I refer to as essentially the ultimate collective. And you can call upon your guides, Reiki masters, people who were monks and things of that nature in this physical life, and who help people in those ways, with the transference of chi and the removal of toxic energy. Um, because just as there are things that sometimes enter our bodies that are not so good for us, especially in excess, so too is it with certain thoughts, and those thoughts are essentially energy based, and they have a hold on us in our physical bodies, and they not only affect our brains, they can affect any part of the body, because every single part of the body is cellular to some degree. Um, but it's not just cellular. There's also the aspects of energy which flow from cell to cell. And when we think about that nature, we're going to more of the molecular energy concept that of that chi nature for
Yeah.
our being, for our spirit. And when I personally work with people, um, I used to sense way, way too much starting out as a
Yeah.
Reiki practitioner
Yeah. Uh-huh.
because that's all I really understood. And people would tell me that I was using basically my body um, as the um, receiver for sensing. Which I'm not saying that you aren't supposed to do that in other ways, such as the transference of chi from your hands, for example, because
Yeah.
of all
Shooting with your
neuro.
hands is wonderful. It's wonderful.
But
Um,
people should also remember that the whole body is a
right,
conduit,
right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
so people can actually um, go within their minds, for example, within the
Yes,
mind's eye,
yes.
within the eye's
Remotely.
spirit, and work with people remotely in that way, even without using your hands. But
Yes,
you know,
yes.
but we use our hands, and sometimes we use rocks and crystals and things like that, just because they're good elements to work with. Um,
Correct.
so when I go to help people, I'll have some crystals just as placeholders for the chakras, and I like using citrine. It's a very well-rounded crystal, um, and I have different types of elements that I use, but like different types of rocks, because sometimes some of them are help to smooth out the energy. But essentially, what I do is I just call on the greater spirit, anyone who wants to come in to help, who's able to do that, and that now is the time to help that person heal. And when it comes to that energy, rather than me drawing it into myself, I don't like doing that. Instead, I will
Yeah.
like have crystals and stuff, and I'll just like kind of bring that energy out. Um, so kind of like how there is massage therapy. I guess you could consider it kind of like a kneading almost, where you just kind of draw the energy out, and then you just uh, whisk it away. Um,
Yeah,
and
well, you could do that with like a dagger too. You could just carve
yeah,
it. I call it, well, what I was taught was how to carve it out, carve certain, negative things out, like, you know.
yeah,
It-
I know that some people do that, and the reason why I don't do that is because it can be painful for the person. Because when that energy is sharp,
oh
the
yeah,
person can feel it. So that's why I try to gently draw it out with my hand, and
but
then from there,
sometimes it's too hard. It it sucks. You gotta, you know, I mean, yeah, it's painful because it happened to me. And when it happened to me, I mean, I had a block ripped off of my brain, and I had migraines, and I had memories, and I had all kinds of things coming in all at one time. But that's because of, well, it was a lock, and supposedly it had all these symbols and different, architectural type design in it. And when it came off was when I started to have quote unquote memory.
right?
Ones
Would
that
you like
I can't forget.
Would you like to talk about those symbols that you saw at all?
Well, I don't recall seeing any symbols. The gentleman who did the job was the one who saw that. And he was like, they were like all like sketched out. It was like, I would say some kind of alien. I don't know because I had a my lab not too long after that, and I was gone. I had missing time for 24 hours at one point. Then it ended up becoming a full week. And that's not even counting that first 24. So now, what happens if I was in several different, 40 years, 50 years, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, what if I was gone for that long and then I was replaced? And you know what I mean? Like, now here I am. I needed to find the real me, like that Alan Watts video we listened to this morning, and realize I can't be scared anymore. I can't fear. And I even noticed that with a dog, because animals used to not just come up to me. This dog jumped in my lap. First day I met it, he jumped right in my lap. So as you heal, your energy field is gonna definitely heal. It's not, and I mean rapid speed sometimes, as long as you stay. What really had broke me from a lot of this stuff was when Sean did sent me a meditation called wholeness, and how sometimes these beings will come and they will say, steal, parts, because those parts were stolen from them. And what I mean is certain, gifts that are attached to like chakra points and so on and so forth. I was drained at a low level. I'm at 18% right now, psionic, which that's pretty good in, a range of where I was before, because I felt, I don't remember every single thing I did, but the things people had told me I did, yeah, some of it I should have never even got back involved in. I think that it was some kind of psyop trying to get me again. I should have just said, no, I'm not going to talk to you. No. I should have just, I invited that trouble. But see, with people like ourselves, people who heal, people who want to give, help people, we have a tendency of dealing with such horrifying, Crystal.
Yo,
Can you send Tina B a link to this show?
send who?
Tina B a link to listen to the show.
Oh, okay. Yeah, give me a second.
Because she's looking.
All right.
She's also a very good person. I've noticed that now, like finding the real me, I don't necessarily go and look to hang out with a bunch of super soldiers at a conference, because I feel that these conferences are put together for various reasons. You know what I'm saying, Gabriel? And how it seems there's always an issue when super soldiers get together. Why is that? Because we all have psionic abilities. We all have these abilities that sometimes we can't even control. So it's it's like sometimes I mean, I could show up in your home, but I'm going to tell you right now that it's 99.9%
All
not
right,
me.
I sent her a link.
Okay, thank you. And it's, you know what I mean? That's not
Yep.
me, though, Gabriel. So
Right.
I give you permission to cut his head off.
But by the way, just for public awareness, I'm not claiming to be a super soldier or anything like that. I'm just an earth guide, Reiki practitioner, and helping people understand the origins of religion to bring about some clarity and a little less insanity in the world.
No, I understand that. I won't look at you as a super soldier. I never thought you were. We have
Right. That's just
look.
the audience.
We have certain facial features. We have it's our lineage. You know what I mean? It's our DNA. You know, and sometimes we don't even know. Like, so I don't know how you feel about this, but I supposedly have elf DNA. And okay, so I take it that goes back to like a uh, either another dimension maybe, or I haven't really figured that one out. But I have pointy ears myself, and my daughter has very pointy ears, and she has all of the traits that a rainbow child has. So, and she's autistic. So it's not to say that is a bad thing, you know. So people don't think just because your kid is autistic, they might be smarter than you. Okay, literally.
It's important that people understand that autism is just more than anything a different way of processing information because I mean, for starters, the brain is developed a little differently, but that doesn't mean that, being differently developed means that it's a hindrance. It just means that we have to learn how to work with society in a way that helps us to see those differences in a healthy light for people to see things that they might not have been able to see before without those who see differently.
Hey, Kareem. Kareem, what
Gian?
we says recognize, guys. Hey, Giggles. Hi, guys.
But as for the elf
Oh
DNA
no,
that you
Crystal, she
mentioned,
didn't wanna. She just wanted to listen to us. Where are we live on Twitch?
Oh, um,
Send her the
we are live
information.
on twitch.tv.
All right, tell her.
I'll
Tell her
send it to
that.
her.
Yeah, she doesn't want to come on tonight. I think she's had a stressful.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's had a really stressful week. I'll let her, eventually come on and explain her experiences. They're pretty, yeah. That's all I can say.
but you mentioned the elf DNA.
What?
But you mentioned the elf DNA, and I want to mention something that I saw a while back. And I don't know if people are saying it's a hoax or not, but I saw articles, like they seemed like legitimate articles about how there was this race of pygmy people, like pygmy, as in like they're only like no more than a foot or two, and they
Oh, no,
saw
no.
basically mass graves like here in North America. Yeah.
Yep.
I've seen them.
Yeah. And apparently, the Native Americans, based on what I was reading in the article, referred to them as like the little devils or something like that. And if we conceptualize what that concept is, devil is not necessarily evil. Historically, when we think about the concept of devil, It just refers to the people that live in the earth or under the earth. And if we really think about what that means, it could just mean more than anything that they are a race of people that maybe made a lot of dwellings within the earth, that went into the earth to live for safety. And if you're really small, that is what makes a lot of sense. And when you have to learn how to do those things for survival, you have to become very intelligent in those ways in terms of construction, in terms of building, because you don't want your people to be flooded out. So you have to be very inventive in those ways. So they would have likely been a very clever race of people. And are they still around? Maybe, but maybe we don't see them because maybe they don't want to be bothered. And
Yeah,
I mean,
but
that
if
would make a lot of
I
sense.
if I have that being kind of like the elf, you know, are you saying that that could be the elf race? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm saying that it could be descended from a group of people that were associated with that, and based on the apparent evidence that I have examined in articles, whether those articles are completely factual or not, or what people are saying about them, all I can say is what I've seen on, not just the social media, but actually going back to links where they seem professional with people discussing them. So I don't see any reason
Well, yeah.
why that's not a possibility. And if anything, I think that we should welcome the opportunity that those people are most likely the elf people because if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it flies like a duck, then it's a duck. And with this, they're small, they appear clever. They said that they were, when they were buried, that they were somehow like mummified in some type of way where they were in like the lotus type position from what
Yeah.
I saw in the article, and that's
Yeah.
kind of like the enlightened people, like what the monks do. Um, and when we think about how the body's being preserved, it's like
Right.
who else does that? The people of Peru, the Egyptians. So it's maybe just more than anything a similarity between shared concepts between different races of people. Um, so I think that's something worth exploring and discussing about in further topics for conversation.
Well, here's the other thing is okay. Um, you, I also was told I have Oz program.
Can you say that again?
Um, Oz, Oz, OZ,
Oz.
Oz programming.
Okay. Tell me about that.
Well, I don't really know how deep it goes. But to be honest with you, I remember as a child, I burnt out every video VCR tape there was. Um, you know, and uh, 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 I, I don't know. It something about that movie. Um, I watched it like later on in life, and I have to tell you, man, I got triggered for some weird reason. I got triggered, and it was like, oh, there's no place that like home, you know. There's no place like home. Now, in my eyes, Brenny, here's my sick view of the whole situation, right? Did
All right.
Dorothy really get brought up in a tornado, or did Dorothy fucking bump her head because something hit her and, she went into another dimension or whatever? Because if you remember, there were doppelgangers. Everybody in the beginning of the movie was in the middle, and then in the end.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And then the man behind the cloth.
Yeah.
It all makes sense.
Well, I think that stories like that are meant to be open to interpretation. And I think that exploring those interpretations are very healthy because they teach us about ourselves. So, what was your most important takeaway that you say that you have learned from that?
Well, see, I haven't gotten to the full. I haven't got to the full. Man, listen. Let me tell you something. I don't
Yeah.
know if you've heard it. I'm gonna send it to you right now on my other phone.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to find it. Crystal, did I send you Sean
Yo.
Bond's interview?
I don't think so.
I'm
Hang
gonna
on,
find
I'll find out.
it because but you might have to be friends with Sean Bond, Gabriel, to see it. I don't know.
No, you didn't. Oh, wait. Oh no, that's Alan Watts.
Oh, I get it right here. I'm looking right now.
I can't find it.
I'm gonna find it. Okay, and I
Gotta
got
keep an
something
eye
else
on my
I'm gonna
stream.
talk about with you. Yeah, I was gonna call you Jacob. How's it looking in the house? All right, Gabriel,
Yeah.
it's coming to you right now, pal.
Okay.
I just sent it to you.
In Messenger?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I do think that the concept of the journey, such as in The Wizard of Oz, is something that we have found repeatedly in history, especially going back to religion, philosophy, people going on their journeys to discover who the man behind the curtain is.
Correct. Right. It makes total sense there. And then you got Alice in Wonderland. Okay.
Yeah.
You got all of these people, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding, man. Like some of this stuff has 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 like I don't know, like I guess, and it has nothing to. And here's another thing, right? It's like this, okay? This MK Ultra programming leads back to Power Rangers, leads back to Super Samurai. If you watch Superhuman Samurai, if you watch the videos and you watch the subliminal messaging that comes out now, right? Okay, so what I figured out with another gentleman was I am Rocco from Rocco's Modern Life. If you watch the Rocco Modern Life show, a lot of what happened to Rocco happened to me. Animal experimentation. I turned around, put a cat in the washing machine when I was a younger kid. In some of these MK Ultra programs, a lot of people have said, and I probably did something, but I don't have any full recollection of that other than putting the cat in the washing machine. But
That's
to
horrible.
graduate certain programs, you would have to do. This is hard to say, and I'm going to say it because I can now. It'd either be a puppy or it would be a cat. And in these programs, they would sit there and make you, if you want to graduate,
That's horrible.
pretty much, you know. And that's why now I use my hands. I've taken back my power because I'm able to.
I think it's important to say
And
that, we don't encourage animal abuse or anything
oh
like
no, I
that.
don't encourage it, but
Right.
what it's what these alphabet agencies have all decided, okay, well, let's try this drug on this one. Let's try this drug on that one, okay? So, by the way, yeah, I was on Ritalin for years, but I have some short people. Now, I have tall people in my family. So that could lead back to,
Go lay down.
you know, like there,
Lay down.
I'm it's like cosmic energy is just like, whoa, it's like, like sometimes just sitting here talking to you feels like going into the screen. But back to Power Rangers it's like, if you look at that show, it symbolizes a lot of things. Teleportation, this, that, So people look at me sometimes and they say, you base yourself off of a television show. Yes, I do, because I sat in front of the television and watched it every day. And at the time, even though, I still don't have a serious diet, I can't afford, and no one can afford to really eat well anymore. It's unfortunate, but I do my best, at least a vegetable. But beef, I make myself whole. You gotta eat. There's one thing about this. If you don't eat, I go days sometimes. I have without eating. Without eating.
I couldn't do that. I get hungry.
You couldn't do that?
Speaking of which, I got food in the microwave.
Are you waiting on us for you to eat?
No,
No?
I'm
tell you
warming
what.
up something that I made the other night.
That's good.
So it's just noodles and sauce.
Oh, that's good. So, I was wondering if you or anyone would want to hear more about the journey to see the man behind the curtain.
Heck yeah.
Well, yeah, absolutely, Indiana Jones. Absolutely, absolutely. Hey, that's my new nickname for you, man. Indiana Jones.
Well, I'd prefer Ohio Jones because I'm an Ohioan.
So
But
you're
thank
on
you.
the same time zone as me.
Yep.
It's almost 11 o'clock here, but that don't matter. It's a Friday night. I will be sleeping in tomorrow, probably with the pup, and that's another wonderful thing. Ever since that dog, it sleeps right next to me. He sleeps right next to me. Yep. And the warmth and their energy is so pure. So what they're doing, I believe, is they're pumping pure energy into you. Because I feel like when even an animal touches or you touch an animal, your energies interlock somehow. And unfortunately, with this MK Ultra and stuff like that, is when your energy doesn't interlock correctly with someone else's energy. Sometimes it can throw off a lot of things, different timelines. It can create you going and working for the wrong side. God, there's so much. It's wild.
Absolutely.
Not getting my dinner. Sorry.
Go right ahead.
Mama loves you, but you're not getting my dinner. You still have leftovers over there on your plate. What? Not a bird. You don't eat worms.
So if I can find this on my phone, one of the first things that I want to show you is an island area in the, I think, South Atlantic Ocean, and it's basically several hundred miles um, off the coast of Africa, towards the west. Okay, I found it. And let's see here. This is what the island looks like on Google Earth. And hold on. As you can see,
Uh-huh.
right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So this is going to get really interesting. This island is actually carved. And hold on. Let me see if I got this right, because I have to use the blending feature to get all the blends in just the right spot. And let's see, I don't know if this is quite accurate. Hold on. I have to readjust the image. But when we look at this image here in, hold on. Okay, I'm just readjusting it just a tiny bit. And I think I got it. Well, I mean, it's close enough. But this is what it's supposed to look like.
She said she got the link, but it won't load.
So take a look at the
Looks
head
like a
right
head.
there. Yeah. And that's head, and that head is supposed to represent people being born through the Strait of Gibraltar, and if you look really closely in other areas, there are tiny little details that if you were to study very
Yeah.
carefully, that you'd be able to see the similarities between this carved island region and the lands of West Africa's Atlantis kingdom. And the reason why that head is there is because when we go back to especially eastern portions of Africa, where we see the Egyptians and other cultures, they have this cup-like design that you go to rest your head upon, and then it goes, it's connected by a base, and then it flattens out, and that's supposed to represent the waters west of the Strait of Gibraltar region. And the river really isn't big or there anymore, but what it used to resemble was the access to the old Atlantis River. Okay, so like here's Portugal and Spain and Morocco. So all we really have to do is turn it like that, and we then have the ability to hold on,
Crystal,
hold on. Let me turn it
Crystal,
like that.
Yeah.
you got the
So
link,
as you
but it won't load.
can see,
I don't know.
how it makes that cup shape, and then it cuts through the Strait of Gibraltar, and then they would have gone down to Atlantis Kingdom by the old Atlantis River, going this way, and so that makes that shape that they go to sleep for their
Just
headway.
try. Tell her if she's on a computer to just try the twitch.tv/Giggle Pickles 76.
Oh, I don't know how to write all that out.
But if people want to know what island that is, let me find it for you. It'll take a couple minutes for me to find, but basically, it's in this area of the ocean over here. So wherever that island is, right there. Let me see if I can find it. It'll take me a few minutes if we have time for me to search for it. Hold on. Almost found it. Found another island that's in the vicinity. So I know I'm close to it. You know what? I think this is going to take too long for me to find. So I showed you the general direction. Oh, wait, actually, I did
Right.
find it. Yay! I did find it. Okay, so exploration. Um, 2 boats, Cat Hill, Georgetown. Um, so Georgetown is located on what island? Town in Ascension Island. Huh, so get that, Ascension Island.
Yeah.
So that's St. Helena, Ascension, and Tristan de Cunha. So Georgetown is the capital and chief settlement of Ascension Island. So here we see Ascension Island with the head and the island being shaped similarly to the lands of West Africa's Atlantis Kingdom. I say West Africa's Atlantis Kingdom because it was a nation of nations all over the world. They were the great sailors of Atlas. Now, that's a whole different discussion for another time, but basically they made the Atlas Formation for the waters on top of the world. The Green Lizard, which wraps around the concept of it, which wraps around North America. They made that on basically on almost every continent or every continent. but they've made some of those earthworks seriously like hundreds of miles long, because they would shape the lands and then they'd know how to travel those lands because they shaped all the lands similarly. Um, and naturally, the geologists will say, well, maybe that's just a similarity found in nature. It's like, no. It's like you can tell some of these are definite earthworks, just the way that they're shaped, and they're just far too similar. Um, so the reason why people would um, shape that at the for the head passing through the Strait of Gibraltar is because the Mediterranean, get this, is supposed to represent the goddess Nut for the waters which wrap around Africa, hence the goddess Nut being the goddess of the heavens. But she's really just supposed to represent the waters north of Africa and wrapping around. So the reason why I have to say this is because this is actually the very start of the journey for the yellow brick road of religion, because over there is where Nebuchadnezzar, the child goddess of Nut, um, and that is associated with death because the vulture, with that cup formation, because they would view the wings that are spreading outward as the vulture. And she goes to grab this red circle, and usually she's depicted with two claws, grabbing red circles. But if you think about just that whole region, um, that whole rounded region, um, right right here, you'll see that when you get to this area, it's like, yeah, it's a little rounded, and then it kind of goes like that for the shapes in the land. And there's supposed to be a gold bar, designating where that start of your journey is. And that's because when a person loses a child, um, that they're supposed to go on that journey to recovery. But that concept of losing a child can pertain to anything regarding loss, something that you lost that is dear to you. So people would go on their Moses walk, on their Moses journey, for the exploration of not only the world but the self. So as they come to know the world, they come to know themselves through the concepts of the gods, the lands, and seas. And when we
As
finally,
in Native American culture, it would be
yeah,
uh, a journey quest.
yeah,
There's a lot of racket, Gabriel. I hear racket.
you probably hear the crickets.
No. When Giggle talks, I hear her voice echo.
Oh,
It's like a feedback.
Yeah, that's exact. Right. The feedback.
maybe I
Oh,
can
that's
lower the
right.
volume on my
I'm
computer.
looking into the
There we
I'm
go.
looking in what? Oh, you
That's
fixed it?
better.
Yeah,
It's
that's
better.
a
Yeah.
lot better.
I just went to turn down the volume on my computer a little bit.
Somebody in chat said that was lost knowledge from the humans that lived on the single continent, and we are a civilization with amnesia at this point.
Listen, look, who said that? Who said that? Seriously.
Hang
I'm the
on.
host. I need to know. Who said that?
I'll send it
Please
to you in the private chat.
don't tell me it was Granny. Yeah.
There you go.
All right, I'm gonna click on it right now and check it.
So I'm going to show you. This is to help everyone with like the flood story, because there's a lot of people out there
Oh
who,
wow. Okay.
because this pertains to the Yellow Brick Road. Um, quite literally. If you think about the sands as being like yellow for some of them,
Okay, Jacob.
you follow the sandy road. Um,
Right.
anyway, so this can either be viewed as God Atum or Min, but if you look at the face of Portugal and Spain, this guy, he looks towards the west. And
Right.
when you go to, look more closely, it looks like he's sitting upon a mound. Like it kind of looks like there's legs and everything. It's really cool. And the Egyptians,
Yeah.
see, the Hebrews have more of a six-sided concept for the mound he sits upon, but the Egyptians, for the early Egyptians, um, did the more triangular concept. And when you look at the more triangular concept for those lands of Africa, it's like, yeah, you see that there's a triangular formation to those lands. It kind of looks like a pyramid. So that is the land pyramid of Africa, that the concept of God Atum goes to sit upon, and God Atum represents the day, and you see a sunset symbol upon his head with the coast of France. And then there is the devil concept for the sands of Algeria. You see how that kind of makes a horse-like face?
Yep.
So that's supposed to be the face of Set, and you follow his tongue downward. Um, so basically, in the beginning, God created Atum. So Atum, the first God, made Atem. So the T would have represented direction, whereas the D represents the letter Dalet, meaning passage. So the God of direction creates the man of passage, the man who passes through. And I already showed you the head, which passes through the Strait of Gibraltar for the concept of being born again. And we even see that with the rise of Christianity, with the born again Christians passing through the Strait of Gibraltar in old Atlantis kingdom. So you have the God of the day, and then you have Set for the God of the night, because you would, yeah, there he is, because you would pass through the sands of Set. And that's why the Hebrews made a covenant with death, because they would pass through the sands of Seth. And the Egyptians may have called him Set, but the Hebrews and the Greeks called him Seth with a TH rather than a T. So a day and a night. And then you get down to the lower lands of West Africa's Atlantis kingdom, and Atlas sank. Well, get this, all these lands over here along West Africa, they actually made a big formation of an Atlas creature, supposed to represent the top of the world for how to navigate around North America. But I will show you in Atlantis Kingdom, and this is just one for West Africa. There's also an Atlantis concept formation with eye and everything. Um, Closer to Egypt, I think in the lands of Chad or something like that. But if you look at, okay. Well, first look at this. Okay, so Eye of Africa, right? Do you see that? Hold on. Okay, Eye of Africa. You see the tier
Okay.
formation that starts to go below it? You see that tier?
Yeah.
The reason why some of the Egyptians with some of the artifacts have a triangular point for the tier is because there's actually a somewhat triangular point for the body. I'll show you. Hold on. And as you see in those sands, it does kind of make a triangular point. But I will
Yeah.
zoom out a little bit and showed you the bird formation for Osiris. And as you can see, the bird head is looking downward. And that's supposed to represent South America. So Osiris is the head of South America, for the head formation, and I'm sure the body represents other things for navigation. But as you can see in the body, there's even feet. which branch out from the Osiris bird. There you go. You should be able to see the feet now, which branch out
Yeah.
from the body and the tail extending
Yeah.
towards one side. So when you get to the kind of like the belly region of it, you will see the it's an Atlas creature formation. Um, let me show you. And that's the concept of Atlantis in the tear of Osiris in the body of the Osiris bird, or the tear of Horus, I guess you could say, but it's within
Right.
Osiris. And if you want to know exactly where that is, um, here are the coordinates for you on screen. So if people want to, take a screenshot of that or capture that, with their phones, that way they can do so and go to that later. But that is the Atlas formation, the Atlas earthwork. And they made these things big, like the one of the biggest ones, two of the biggest ones that I've seen extend across the northern plains of Africa, um, from approximately the country of, let's see, Algeria and Mali. Like in Mali, they reshaped the lands over there, um, for the face, and there's other formations of the continents as well in other ways. I won't go into such great detail. Um, but when you go upwards into Algeria and Tunisia, that's supposed to be like the back concept, and that's why Atlas holds up the world. Um, but then it goes into the Ankh, um, of Egypt, Libya, Sudan, and Chad. So everyone talks about the Ankh, and the Ankh is just a concept, because there's other formations in the earth which represent an Ankh based on what I've seen. But when you see the rounded tail, that is actually what is in the rounded tail for the Atlas formation. Um, and there's even a line which flows through it, in the same concept. But basically, what I'm trying to say here is I just turned the map upside down for West Africa. So all these lands, they were reshaped to create like it's supposed to wrap around into like a circle there. And the way they would have did this is they carved rivers and they deforested lands. So that way, as they went to reshape the lands, they could actually have earth to work with. So they would deforest to create, a whole bunch of lumber for their boats. And then in the process of deforestation, they would then have these beautiful earthworks that they could navigate. And for a time, they would have been able to farm these lands, just like any other type of farmland. But I think that what happened is that due to excessive farming, that the lands continued to dry and that they didn't hold any more water, because when you don't have big trees, and you're cutting down trees for lumber and things like that, it destroys the lands. So, um, if you think about Atlantis sinking, um, and it includes the countries of, um, Ghana, Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, um, and basically all those countries around there. If you think about Atlantis sinking, that's a really good representation for the back of the Atlas creature facing the ocean. So a day and a night, and Atlantis sink. So, Atlas sank. The people of Atlas are the Atlanteans of the kingdom of Atlantis, Atlas, as the Greeks called the great, uh, um, creature, which is really supposed to, again, as I said, um, represent the waters which wrap around, um, North America. So when
Right.
they learned how to sail the waters of Atlas, they learned how to sail around the world. They learned how to have mastery, dominion over it. And that is why when we look at North America, so too do we see an atlas formation um, in Nevada, in New Mexico, I think in Colorado and California too. But basically, like where the Grand Canyon is and all that. Um, so again, it's like, how did they do this? It's like, how, like, is that possible? And again, all you have to do is really deforest and do some mining, work the earth excessively in farming, and it takes a lot of time and effort, but people, literally flesh and blood people can do these things. And then they go into the desert on their Moses walks, on their sun dancing. It's like, why do the Native Americans refer to it as the Sundance? Please enlighten us. Please, I want to hear from you.
Um, the Sundance is a celebration to our for farming. It is our way of giving thanks to the sun god.
Thank you. And I didn't even mention this yet, but you said it gives thanks to the sun god. What I did not say, I don't think I said it yet, is that the Atlas creature most likely represents God Atum in his lizard form, because there is a concept for God Atum back in ancient Egypt, being shaped like a lizard, and with a kind of like a lizard face. And when we go to the tier of Osiris, for the Binu bird, it's like, why does Osiris rise as Horus? And when we look at the Eye of Osiris, also viewed as the Eye of God, for Atum, and in the Hebrews, because there's a crack in the lands and there's a tear, so there's anger in the eye of God, and he mourned and he cried us a river flooding the world with his tears. So we see in the Hebrew flood story that the eye is actually the concept most likely for the big boat of Noah and the whole 300 cubits. And when we go to the Atlantean mile, which I did not mention yet, it's 3,000 footsteps. And I did this based on cross-referencing a lot of ancient earthworks based on what I found in the ancient texts. And I can actually prove that to you now if you want me to, if we have enough time. But basically, when we think about the goddess Isis mourning over her beloved betrothed, dying by the hands of Set, what does God Atum do? Well, she goes to look for the phallus, and the phallus is way off in the distance, most likely representing the northern lands of, let's see, what are they called? In Europe, how you have like the Vikings and all that. What are those countries? Okay, so basically the dome of Europe. That basically looks like a giant phallus. I'm sorry, but like, I don't mean to be graphic or anything, but that's the way the Earth is shaped. So that is probably what they most likely meant for Norway, Sweden, Denmark, and because there we see it right there, in those countries with the whole mythology. Um, we see a giant phallus in the distance, and then after they would go to the Dome of Europe, then they would cross the top of the world into North America, because there's all these lands, going towards the North Pole region, towards Greenland. So they would pass the land phallus of Europe and go into North America. And by the way, over here in like Guatemala, I think that's Guatemala. Yep. In those regions, it looks like there's a giant snake formation for Central America. So that would have represented the snake, which swallows up the world of North America. And for the Norse mythology, they have, the snake that swallows up the world, the flying serpent. And here in like the Aztecs and the Mayans, and going all the way back to the Olmecs, 2,000 plus years ago, basically, we have the flying serpent. And what is the flying serpent called?
A dragon.
Yes, it can be viewed as a dragon by the Chinese people, but specifically, what is that that serpent god called according to the Aztecs? And I think you should know this because you Quetzalcoatl, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. However, Quetzalcoatl is most likely the concept for the formation
Now,
of
Gabriel sleeps all day, so he could be up on there all night.
of the Caribbean Sea. But the point is, when you follow the concept of Atlantis sinking, a day and a night, and Atlantis sank, you literally follow the yellow brick road to Atlantis Kingdom, passing through sands that are yellow and red, all the way to Atlantis. And you go there, and they teach you how to navigate the whole world, and it's so insanely beautiful. And all the other cultures around the world have their concepts too. Um, so, as I said, the Caribbean Sea is most likely the face of Quetzalcoatl. So, you overlay that as a map, and you will see similarities. Um, but it's just really interesting, that's all.
Mm-hmm. Jacob Waters 14 says, interesting correlation with the Earth theory. Now SETI controls the weather. There's actually a great argument that all modern day religion is just serpent worship based for the pagans and even further back. It happens in Kentucky. And then he goes on to say, you're doing great research, Gabriel.
Thank you.
Okay. Harp control. Harp control. Montauk. Let's go into Montauk. What the Sage radar tower would do would transmit enough energy, okay? When you sat the psych and, the psych was in the room and the boy was sitting in the Montauk chair. I mean, I've had visuals of this being done to me. And they suck my consciousness out of my body and send it through space and time. Now, I'd end up on like different like crafts, or I'd end up on Mars, or I'd end up wherever they were sending me, cities and all different types of things. You understand? So there's also something called the Hell Realm. Yes, there is. Ask Sean Bond about it. He will tell you it's not a game, and he got stuck. See, sometimes we got to be very careful. Okay, what I've learned, right? I used to talk about all these beings, they freak me out. I'm not afraid. I can't be afraid of them anymore, because reason being is I'm taught that I have to basically rock them like a baby, because they were traumatized at one point in their existence. Okay, if you really want to be technical, by our own U.S. whatever, okay, that wants to backstep their statement so much. It's pitiful. It's pitiful. You tell the American people that they're a national threat.
Rocco, read the comment on the screen.
Oh, absolutely. Because Alfred Bielik, I believe Duncan and a few others spoke about how there was a Montauk Boys program. Get this right, guys. People out there, women out there that think you're a part of Montauk. It is called the Montauk Boys program for a reason. For a reason. At that point, Hitler didn't want females as soldiers. All right. Now I'm talking my past life when I died in the Montauk chair. And that's where 2.0 came in. And Anya Briggs, which was well known, still well known. I mean, she's doing okay, but she lives in Manhattan, and that's a hard place to live. But she won't work with super soldiers um, because we're too hard to work. We're at times we can be very pushy. At times we can be very, you know, but yeah, there was a major, in every major city and state, there was a Montauk Boys program. So yes, I do believe there were several Montauk chairs that they reinvented off the trash UFO that Preston Nichols spoke about in the book. Or it might have been Peter, but I don't know. But I'll tell you what, it definitely in the 90s, I remember I was brought up there by a handler and I was brought over by Battery 216 and they were there. Now see, people sit there and they say, oh, well, nothing's going to happen on a defunct Air Force base. There's kids that go missing. Gabriel knows this because he does his research. There's still kids that go missing in Montauk every year. Long Island, New York is a hot spot. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, I think in terms of ancient earthworks for Long Island and New York and all that, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of them. So it's like, why would that be a hot spot for today's world? Um, if anything, perhaps there are some things that are buried within the earth, or just things that people are trying to preserve and people are trying to be kept private, possibly, so that people don't become overly aware, because if things become noticed without a thorough understanding as to what those things are, then it could create a great deal of excitement. And if there's a great deal of excitement generated and people start looking into the land maps or the rock maps along beaches, I've seen rock maps along beaches literally like describing the continents and all sorts of crazy things like
Okay,
that.
well, yeah. Well, if you look at Montauk, okay,
Yeah.
and you look at the dunes, okay, just look
Yep.
at it, bro. Seriously, if artificial, artificial.
Yeah.
Okay, I know a man who was involved in these programs, and I'm not going to put the man's name out there out of respect, even though he's retired. I could still, but I don't do that because he went on a couple of shows with me and he was very disrespectful. So, he blew that. He won't come on the show. I already asked him if he'd come on the show, and he said no. He said, I'm not. He said, every time I do that, negativity. He says it just brings back more negativity. I mean, the man's retired. He worked at a place where he was dragged underneath the ground, and horrible, horrendous things happened to him.
would you say that Plum Island is close to Long Island? You guys would know this better than me.
I actually.
I have
I'm
no
gonna
clue.
anyways. Okay, Plum Island. Yes, I have a family member that actually works at Plum Island. Plum Island is on the other side of the island. You get what I'm saying? Okay, so it's on the north fork. Okay, so it's going more towards Greenport, Orient Point, and you get on a ferry and you go there. But now you could take a ferry from there directly to Montauk as well. Or I think it's Sag. I can't remember where it is, but it's in one of those areas. East Hampton. I think it might be East Hampton, but are really close to Montauk. When you get into Montauk, right, it feels like literally you're going into a vortex, ripping you into a vortex, right? And it's when you get on that long stretch that you never feel like it's going to end, dude. That's how I feel.
Jacob says Plum Island is where they claim to be doing research. I thought
They
some
don't
kind of
claim
animal
nothing.
testing.
They do stuff there, my man. They do stuff there. My uncle works there. Yeah, I said it.
Oh,
And it
wow.
is the truth. Oh,
Big
wow.
giant,
Yeah, I see that.
Oh, yeah.
big giant earthwork of South America, and that actually goes into a huge earthwork of North America, running up from it. They did include that there, and sorry, over here or at that region is actually, I think one of Africa, just because it was easy to work with for the land for how it's shaped. But over here, I'll have to pull up another one for you,
What are you doing?
showcasing how it
Your
can
video
be
phone,
later.
the lights.
Continue. I will find it
Sorry.
for
Oh,
you.
I was talking to my cat. He was trying to get into the video or into the
Oh,
live stream. Come here, Scamps. Come here.
okay.
This is
So this part.
this is Scamps.
So
He was
check
trying
this.
to become part of the live stream.
That's all
He
right.
always does.
So this part of Plum Island is carved into the face of Atlantis Kingdom. And if you go to where the eye is in Atlantis Kingdom in West Africa, and you overlay it with Plum Island, there is actually an eye there. If you want to go there and explore that, I think
You're
that
not getting near.
legally,
You're not getting
I
near
think,
that place. You're
yeah,
not
I think that
getting.
legally speaking, that you're not really allowed to explore. I can't say, if you are or aren't, but I think that there are some legal hurdles regarding the exploration of those sites. And
Yeah.
but yeah, basically that whole place is artificially created, and the way that they would have done that is they just would have given off some earth from the coastline, and they would
Right.
have displaced that into the ocean or just used it for materials for building, rocks, things like that. And as the earth lowered, then they would just, use those rocks, or they would chip away at a mountain or rock elsewhere and they would add to the coast. I mean, it's not, people think that it's hard to create a coastline. It's really not. As long as you have like hard rock like materials that create a strong foundation for a coastline, you can reshape it. And as long as you take good care of it, then it's fine. um Obviously though, like what's happening in Florida with the coast being deteriorated, like that's for different reasons. um the waters down there are different, and we're experiencing global warming because people deforested everything, and the Earth's getting warm. I'm going to help people fix that. But basically, just for the record, that's a map.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did you send it to Tina B?
I didn't send that to anybody.
No. I'm asking.
I sent her. I told her to just go to twitch.tv/Giggle Pickles 76.
I actually did make a post about that on Facebook, I think. I did. I find crazy things, don't I? A little bit of self-indulgence there for a moment, but
Gabriel, I know what. Yeah, man, you're on the prowl, man. But you ain't getting near no Plum Island, man. I'm gonna tell you that right now. My uncle. So, all right. Here's the crazy part. Ready? I have family all throughout. Okay, I have family that also work at the Brookhaven National Laboratory. You know what that is? Well, I had one family member work there, and I think one that passed away that worked there. Or I don't know if it's
act as if I don't know anything.
I really don't care. I don't give names,
Okay.
It is what it is. I get birds every day, It don't matter, man. I get, watched no matter what. It's gonna, they're just gonna keep watching. I don't say everything I've been told. I'm just not allowed. But trust me, I've dealt with them. I don't like dealing with them.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about cringeworthy people. Like serious cringe.
That's all right. Some people just don't get it. That's why I just try to show the evidence. It's because people speculate.
Now, when did you find that out about Plum Island?
Month or two ago, a couple months ago, maybe. I found a whole bunch of other things. I'm always finding things, tons of things. It's like Plum Island. That's a drop. Like that's a tiny drop compared to all the other things.
Go to Camp Hero. Go to Camp Hero.
All right, I'll check it out.
For sure. So how many people are in
So far we had 8 earlier. Now we're down to 3.
Oh.
So
getting tired.
It does that on a Friday night usually. It depends on who all's live streaming.
That's okay.
So
yeah. So
in the next 26 minutes, I'm going to have to jump down because I'm going to be busy for the next couple of hours.
Yeah. Yep.
So.
Oh, by the way, I think you guys might find this interesting because you're interested in all of the people going to explore outer space and the ancient astronauts and the super soldiers. So you know how there's that post on Facebook about the alien god. How there's okay, so have you seen this image on Facebook? That's in
Yeah.
South America. Yeah. Okay. Well, look at it upside down and it kind of looks like a shin. Oh shoot. Well, anyway, it kind of makes that W formation almost. And I was thinking, okay, so that's probably similar to the shin of the Mediterranean, because when you look at the Mediterranean for the breasts of the goddess Nut upon Libya and Tunisia, those lands for those waters, and how that goes between Sardinia and Italy, for the one hand, Greece for those waters for the other hand, and the waters which wrap around from Italy to Greece as being the head, and how there's like how you go between what's that triangular Sicily, for Italy, Sicily, how you can cut through to the Adriatic,
Right.
you can cut through to the lands of Greece. That's literally the crown of thorns region for the Christ concept. And like Christ will come to people in their dreams, but they don't understand it, and they're like, "Oh, I saw Jesus," and I'm like, "I'm sure you did see Jesus, but did you understand it?" And it's like, so anyway, and that goes back to the days of Anu with the He interpretation. How there's it goes like that, and then the feet that split for the breast of the goddess Nut, and that's supposed to represent the strong waters. Anu on Aleph, strong for the ox, the bull, and then Nu for the water. Anu, strong waters. Ho. So anyway, hence Anunnaki. Um, so when we go to back to this image here, I was thinking of anthropomorphic cartography naturally because everything was associated in those days for guided navigation. So the spaceship concept would have represented going above the Earth to look down to see all around. And so what we do is we are then able to overlay this with the Mediterranean and see how those lands are shaped.
Right.
Right. And especially with the waters region for describing how to navigate the islands of the Mediterranean and the surrounding seas going into going into Europe basically for how to get around.
That's cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, they tell you exactly where to get around through the spaceship concept.
Yeah.
Yep.
So anyway, just thought that I would share that the people on the one side of the world and the people on the other side of the world were doing the exact same thing. Why are they doing the exact same thing? They like to explore. That's why.
There you go.
They love the beautiful world. So, oh, wait. I got another crazy one for you. You are going to love this. Okay, so,
What was that?
this is, yeah? What?
I'm trying to remember where I saw it at, but there was a wooden bird. I can't remember if it was Aztec or
Yeah.
Egypt, but they found or they discovered a wooden bird that they put into one of their what do
You
they
saw
call
that on
those?
the
The
first
damn
episode of
vacuum
Ancient Aliens,
chambers to
didn't you?
test it out.
I saw it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they were talking about um, how it was aerodynamically designed that it would actually fly like an airplane.
Oh, of course. Those people
So,
knew what they were talking about in those days, but the reason why not everybody knew about it is because the separation from the wise and the unwise have always existed. If you try to tell the people who are unwise all these things and they do it, then they take that technology and then they use it to hurt each other, and it's not good. So people
right.
have always tried to keep things separate um, from those, from, basically from things getting out of hand. And now look, it's 2022. And look at where we are now with nuclear technology all over the world, and people still warring with each other like primitives. And by primitive, I mean truly the core nature of primitive, meaning people who would rather harm each other than talk it out. I'm not talking about any, um, disgusting term for how some people have been called those things for nothing more than culture. I'm talking about people who are just so stupid that they would rather fight and hurt each other rather than just talk things out. Um, but yet we see those things happening in today's world, and countries that still get all bent out of shape when you try to explain to them their own religion because it interferes with their belief system. And that's what I mean by the separation between the wise and the unwise.
Right.
So, but now the cat's out of the bag. We have all this technology now in the world, and it's sort of important because we had to create the internet. We had to, because we had to expose everything that's going on in the world with all the terrible things around it. And it's like people aren't ready for that emotionally, because even though that we might be ready to work how to fix these things intellectually, from a societal standpoint with culture and religion, people aren't ready for it emotionally. And that's why people like us exist, to help people understand, not only the things that are out there that are possible, but also for going back to the origins of it, for why these things came to exist in the first place.
Right.
And that even goes back to Reiki, because the enlightened people would, as they came to walk the lands, they would come to
Yeah.
know themselves. And as
That's
they
the
came to know
demon
themselves, they would
trying
find
to
peace
get
in life.
you, but you're in a ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean sent me that. He sent me a
Do you
couple.
guys do you guys want to see the water bearer? I'm curious.
The water.
The water bearer.
Oh shoot.
Oh, okay.
Because in the Christian story, Christ said, "Look for the water bearer." This is either Sumerian or Mesopotamian, I forget which. But there's the water basket region for those lands, in Central Africa. But then there's also another interpretation, um, like for example, do you see how there is a marking in the foot separating the like you see how the foot is marked, the heel, in such a way
Yeah.
where it separates the waters of the Mediterranean, I think, from the lands of Libya or Egypt. But like you just have to study the marks for where the lines are, and you'll see how they match up with the lands. But I will show you the interpretation that Gilsey and they made a few different designs because they reshaped the whole Earth. But hold on. They also made one that went this way. Like, do you see the water bucket now representing the? Like you will see the hand and bucket come to overlap.
Yeah.
And the fruit for that is to showcase how to travel to the sea. Oh, and you see the watch, the rounded region? Like, that's because there's actually a rounded region. But yeah, they did all sorts of things like that. But that's why the water bearer travels. That's why in the story of I think Abraham, when his servant goes to get the water for the woman, and then he takes it to her, or I think the woman actually gives him water first, but I think there's another story about the person taking the water. So I think the association is made there. But I think the woman actually gives the man the water to drink. But then I think there's another story about the water being taken and given. So that's why they say to look for the water bearer, because the water bearer travels. And then there's also interpretations that I found for that over in Atlantis Kingdom for how the lands are shaped similarly in those ways for navigation. But yeah, I can show you that if you like. But let's continue.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about?
Rocco, it's your
I know. What the hell, man? I was just thinking about funny, I'm gonna watch that movie Elvis later.
I heard it was a good movie.
Oh yeah. Upchurch, Ryan Upchurch is a prime example of them. He is. You don't
Yes.
care, man.
Yes.
What?
I
What?
I listen to his music. Yeah, I know.
You realize his mom hearts my comment on her channel?
I know somebody who's friends with him.
Yeah, no, I'm probably gonna end up talking with Patty Lynn. See, I know her name and everything. Yeah, she's a wonderful woman. But she's going through a lot of hell right now. But
Yeah.
you know, I'm not saying you're not telling me the truth, but Ryan Upchurch has a lot of stalkers, a lot of stalkers, a lot of stalkers.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And he's got people that will drive from other states that say they know him, and so I don't, you know what I mean? Like I
Right.
try to, like, with him, I try to just be, nice and, respectful of him, but
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not.
Oh yeah.
I think that people are using him.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. I'm sitting here watching Ready Player One.
That was a good movie. You saw it?
I'm watching it. I've got it on DVD.
You will like it.
Oh yeah. I've watched it I don't know how many times. My daughter would come in, she'd catch me watching it. She'd go, "You're watching that movie again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm watching it on the computer. Leave me alone."
Hmm.
I think I've lost count of how many times I've seen this movie. And it still reminds me of how we're living today.
A lot of people aren't awake, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's this?
That's the one for West Africa's Atlantis formation to showcase Atlantis sinking back against the water.
Yeah.
Like I said, they reshaped all the lands. That's what the Yod Wahe do, the hands of enlightenment who create enlightenment. People still don't know that. But yeah, you're gonna watch all this, and you're gonna watch Ready Player One, and I'm gonna do some more cleaning in the garage.
Yeah.
Actually, I might watch some anime. I like anime. I like the art and the stories.
Me too. I like Bleach and
Yeah, yeah.
Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Balls. What's that other one? Naruto but here in a few minutes I gotta go over and check on my neighbor and take his dog out for a walk and because he's sick.
What's he got?
His system got greased up. He ate some chicken from a church and he's been sick ever since.
Mm.
So
I know that if you place butter and olive oil inside a chicken when you go to cook it, they'll make it so soft. Like not only do like the outer part, but the inner part, and whatever you want to season it with. But if you place a generous amount, it will make it so soft that it will fall off the bone while you're eating it.
I did something like that to a turkey a few years ago. And I went to take it out of the pan and put it onto the plate, it started to literally come off the bone for Thanksgiving. So, yeah.
It's good, just as long as you don't overdo it too much, because you can't
Oh
do
no.
much.
It was so moist and delectable, I guess. We had, let's see, me, my son, my ex, his one sister. We had turkey. The four of us had turkey that I was making all kinds of stuff with it. Turkey and cabbage, turkey soup, barbecue turkey. So yeah, we had turkey for days because there was enough there to feed us for probably about another month.
Yeah,
So
well, that's good.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's the best.
I haven't really celebrated Thanksgiving and Christmas for the last 4 years, so but that's just me. I'm not into the holidays as much as I was when my mom was alive. And we always had, you know, people at the house for the holidays.
Yeah, it gets lonely when people that you love go and you don't have as many people with you at the house. It makes it
Yeah,
hard.
yeah.
But that's why it's important to get with some friends and do things like that, go out to eat, like Bob Evans, whatnot. Um,
Nobody ever I don't know, WD. I have no idea. I don't do V8. I don't do carrot juice.
Who is that?
So
I like V8.
WD8C podcast.
Interesting.
But yeah, I don't do carrot juice. I don't even do V8 juice. Not even when I was drinking. I wouldn't even that. No.
So tell me, do you think that since I revealed some stuff on here that people are going to get interested now? Like, is this like a
Oh yeah.
recorded?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
So
That's cool. That's good. If anybody has questions, you can email me at the Reiki Master Team. That's REIKI. Okay. So the Reiki Master Team at gmail.com. That's my email for my business. So if anybody wants to learn more about Earthworks and the origins of religion, or need some help with Reiki in general, I do remote stuff. I don't like touching people because it's like, there's
yeah. Not the best way to go with it. No, no, thank you.
yeah, but it's like, yeah, I can help you just find where I'm at
Well,
because
that's
it's like the
why
internet.
I
It's like
say,
we're talking here, it's all good. So reach out to me if you want to for more answers because I have like I'm not trying to be arrogant. It's like I have too much information. It's like I need to get it out.
Yep. We're all like that.
Yep. And it's not on my website yet. I still need to upload that. I'm just the problem is I just keep finding so many things that I'm constantly going to the next thing, to the next thing, to the next thing. I just need to figure out which way is best to give credit for everything when I do go to upload it to the website. So
Well, I'll give you credit. Is anybody who denies somebody who can do remote healing, anybody can do this, you see. You don't have to be a super soldier. You don't have to be, you can open your mind to these abilities.
yeah,
You can open your mind to healing your own teeth if you really wanted to. I've heard these things.
thank you.
But it takes time, it takes effort, and it takes patience, and it takes lots of meditating. And sometimes, like with DNA activation, sometimes that will literally wake a person up, like they just were asleep and they didn't even realize they were asleep, right? They were awake, but they were technically asleep in the sense of, why am I getting all these memories back now? And they're coming back, and usually when you remember something and you don't have to write it down, in my opinion, is it's stored in your record. You have your own records, just like text messaging one another, psychically, or, there's different ways calling people psychically. You can do that. You can do that kind of stuff.
And I think it's important for people to know that if everything was given to them at once, it's kind of like overloading a light bulb. There has literally been people who have gone insane and had to check themselves into institutions for getting everything at once because it literally can break your brain. So we don't want things like that happening. And just as there are people who care about you in the physical life, there are also people who care about you in spirit who don't want to hurt you, who would much rather help you do things slowly. And just because you may have the ability, or there might be certain memories that are blocked, you have to remember your current life. What is it meant for you to learn in this life, for you and for the people around you? What is the lesson? What needs to be healed? So you have to keep those things in mind. So do not worry about focusing on everything that has happened or what will come, because if you focus too much on that, it can take away from the process, from the journey, from the joy of it. So learn to experience the joy in the journey, in the learning of it,
Yeah.
both for yourself and for others. That's important.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
I got. Do you want to go ahead and end this, Rocco, or do you guys
Yeah, we'll keep
continue
it
going?
going. I'll keep it going, yeah.
All right. Well, I got to jump down and I got to take my medications and go do that for the neighbor. So,
I'm actually getting a little sleepy here.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, after a couple hours of all the talking, my brain is starting to feel tired. I would love to keep going, but my brain is kind of getting tired a little.
all right.
Well, we'll call it out. All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right,
Have a good
guys.
night, everyone.
This has been
Thank you
another
for watching
episode of Truth Shocker with your host, Rocco, his co host, Giggles, and our guest, Gabriel. Anybody got anything to say before we end? Bye,
Blessings to
guys.
everyone.